Hi,
Hello, everyone.
welcome to day two.
Yeah.
Day two of our heartfelt half square. Sorry, I'm going to try to change that a little. Okay. We got to get our tech right. I got to say, I'm jealous because the whole time we were waiting to start, I keep seeing people say it's snowy where they are.
And all we have is cold rain.
And you can hear the wind whipping. It's just gross, but it's not snow. It doesn't look pretty.
Yeah, and we're in Ohio, and we really haven't. We had like a couple inches in December, and that was it. And we haven't had any so far this year. So
I have to pop this comment up here because I have to give a shout out. She wanted to shout out to Nina for getting her issue corrected yesterday when ordering. I know Nina was busy yesterday after our workshop because we had a little glitch, but we got that all straightened out pretty quickly. And I know she helped a lot of people. So I'm glad that it was helpful for you. All right. Snow drifts. Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. We don't know what that is yet, but I'm sure we will here very soon.
Yeah. So anyways, so yesterday we showed you the new design, Heartfelt Half Square. We are going to
I know. I was going to show that yesterday and I forgot.
I just found a really good example of why we use water soluble thread. So we'll show that to you because that's a commonly asked question. 12 inches of snow yesterday and 8 to 12. Aww.
Oh, where are you located? My goodness.
Sorry, that one caught my eye.
That would catch my eye too.
I just want some snow. So Annie stitched out a block from this beautiful new design. We kind of unlocked some limited time pricing and a bundle bonus. We did a lot yesterday.
We did do a lot yesterday.
So what do you have up your sleeve for us today?
Well, today we're going to be trimming a block using our trimmer 3.0 or trimmer by George. And then I'm going to show you how to pin your blocks together. There's a specific way that'll help all those match points in your blocks meet up. And then I'm going to sew the last seam on the quilt. And then I'm going to show you how to back it with a one-piece backing.
That's a lot of good stuff.
That's what we have in store for today.
And while you're doing that, I think a question that I see frequently when we do workshops is people say, what's the difference between the 2.0 and the 3.0? If I have the 2.0, do I need the 3.0? So let's talk about that as well, because I know you got an answer.
Okay, this is, I know it's clear, so it makes it kind of difficult.
Do you want me to switch to that camera?
Yeah, let's do that. I think that would be better.
All right.
So this is our trimmer by George, and this is the 3.0 version. And it looks like an acrylic ruler from that view, but when you turn it on the side, you can see there is a metal edge right here. And this metal edge is what is used to protect the fabric on your front of your block so that you can use the straight edge to cut against. So I might as well just trim the block, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the one and only block that we did not stitch out yesterday. And these are the little corner blocks. And it took 2 minutes to do this. Crazy fast, crazy fast. You might be able to see too that I used a piece of battleizer that was franken-batted.
Oh yeah.
So you can see the little zigzag that's on there. Just a way to save some money. So save your scraps. So basically the trimmer by George, this metal edge, I'm going to lay the metal edge down. Oh, first I'll go ahead and trim 2 sides, and then I want to talk about the binding sides. So this is how you use it. You take the metal edge and you slide it between the battleizer and the fabric on the front. And then you just kind of wiggle it in there and lay down the acrylic ruler. You can give it a little gentle tug like so, but take a peek to make sure there's no fabric peeking out, because that's exactly what we're trying to avoid cutting that. You will need a 60mm rotary cutter. And the reason is because that metal edge lifts that ruler up a little bit to the point where if you did used a 45, the ruler would be hitting this. And that would cause you to try and cut on an angle to get the job done. But with the 60mm, you have enough room there that it raises it up enough to not be a problem. So what you do is you just use that metal edge to cut, and it removes the bulk in your seam. So you can see the bulk is gone. I'm going to do this on one more side. So you pull the fabric back, squeegee that metal edge in there, and then lay it down. I'm going to give it a gentle tug. You visually need to check to make sure, because you could possibly pull it too hard and that fabric might peek out. And then just use your 60mm rotary cutter along the metal edge to trim the bulk away. Okay, so we have 2 sides of this trimmed. Now this little block in our Heartfelt half square design are the corner blocks. So they have an outside edge, and all the border blocks also have one outside edge. So if you have an outside edge, you do not want to remove the bulk. So you will trim 1/4 inch through all the layers. So I'm going to lay this down, and the trimmer by George is obviously it's a acrylic ruler too. So I'm just going to flip it over, and I'm going to lay my 1/4 inch mark right on the basting stitch, and I'm going to trim that 1/4 inch. I was just telling Aubrey I need to put a new blade, and I didn't have time. And then obviously, since this is a corner, we're going to do the same thing right here. Put my 1/4 inch mark from my ruler side of my trimmer by George right on the basting stitch. This is dark and the markings are black. I'm going to flip it over, because here I can easily see the basting stitch. And so I can lay the 1/4 inch mark there. So you could do that from either side. Okay. So now what we have left is excess fabric here. So now what you'll do is you're going to trim it 1/4 inch from the basting stitch using the ruler side of the trimmer by George 3.0 or 2.0 if that's the one you have. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Yep. Time for a new blade. It's been a while. Okay, so you can see how the bulk has been removed.
Look how cute and little that is.
Isn't that cute? That's why it's just a little 2-minute block. So this is one of the corner blocks. And I'm going to show you on the instructions, you'll find on page 14, you'll see a diagram. And it will tell you which sides of the block to trim using the trimmer by George and the metal edge to remove bulk. And those are all the sides that are marked in blue. The sides that are on the outside of your quilt marked in red, those are the sides that will have binding attached to it. And so those are the sides where you're going to use the ruler side of the trimmer by George to trim 1/4 of an inch through all the layers.
And it tells you that right at the top.
It
it's
does.
Kind of off screen, but it tells you that right there.
And I wasn't even
so you don't have to remember.
I just read that. I also want to point out here that there is also a QR code on there. And so if later you go, oh, I can't remember how to use that thing, there's a QR code on the instructions that take you to a video that show you exactly how to use that. And if you are purchasing the trimmer by George, that is also on here. So here we have the same QR code. Oh, wait a minute. That's the QR. There's 2 QR codes. One of them is for the video to show you how to use it. And the other one is for a free download. And this is for a little trimmer case that you can use so you can store your trimmer by George 3.0 in. So there's another little QR code. If you're really quick, you might be able to snag that QR code while we're talking.
Your sister said she loves the fabric.
Oh yeah, I do too. I added the orange and purple and with the pinks and reds. And I think I like this one better than I like the other one.
And Chris just got the trimmer and loves it. And Kathleen ordered it yesterday, so I'm sure she's going to love it too.
So I have the little sample partially sewn together. I wanted to also show you this page in the instruction. This page just tells you how to sew your blocks together. So you can sew, this would be row 1 is your borders, row 2, row 3, and row 4. So you would just sew the rows together so that you have 4 rows. And then you can sew each row to each other. And I'm going to do my final seam on here while we have you on the live. Let me bring all these goodies in. Okay, so here is our cute sample. Did somebody say they were going to do aquas?
Yeah, someone commented early in the live and said aqua, and what was the other color? Shoot.
I can't remember.
But we remember going, ooh, that's going to be pretty.
Yeah. But here are my 2 halves. And basically, of course, right sides together. Oh, I'm going to turn this over before we do that so you can see this as well. So this will help you get a look at the diagram we just looked at with how to trim, what sides to trim with a metal edge and not. So you can see how the trimmer by George removes the bulk and the seams, and that we still have the battleizer there on the edge so we can sew the binding to it. So
Linda wants it for Halloween. Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Aqua and pink. Aqua and pink.
Very cute. So many colors you could go with. It doesn't have to just be those reds and pinks.
Yeah.
So I'm going to flip this over so it's right sides together. And then I'm going to start pinning. The first pin I'm going to put in is going to be, this thing's kind of far away. Hope they can see this, right in the corner. Right on that basting stitch in the corner. You can kind of see where it landed. Whoops, which way am I going? And then I'm going to put the pin to the other side of it, basically in the same place. And I'm going to leave that pin sticking out just like that. I don't know if you can see that. It's just sticking straight out. I am not going to take it and bring it back through, because what that sometimes tends to do is to take your 2 layers and kind of shift them a little bit. We're going to call this my match point. So this is going to be my match point pin. I'm just going to leave it in there. I'm going to go to the next area where I need a match point, and that would be where this seam is. And as you can see, just like a quilt top, I have seams pressed in one direction, the next row pressed in the opposite direction. So now I'm going to, and you just like a quilt top, you can kind of snug those up to each other. I always kind of want to peek in there, make sure everything's matching. I have to put it down to pin it, I'm sorry. But I'm going to put another match point pin in right there. And I like where it landed there. And I'm going to put it in the same spot. Aubrey's going to try and lower that a little bit.
It could be a disaster.
It could be. So everybody hold on. Why can't I move you down? I think that's the one I couldn't.
Can't get it.
Yeah,
loose.
somebody
Right.
very strong tightened that on us. But you can see here's our match point pins. And hopefully you can see where it goes, where the seams are matching there for the two different blocks. So it goes right there, right at that basting stitch. And so I have two match point pins in here. Now I'm going to take another pin and I'm going to put it right next to those match point pins. So let me just grab one. I'm going to start in the corner and I'm pinning, but I'm pinning through the seam allowance. I am not pinning through any batting or anything like that, just through the seam allowance. And then it's sticking straight out and then I can bring it in. And that match point pin helps hold those layers in place. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to continue to do this all the way down throughout the whole seam. So let me put a few pins in here. Then you can take out your match point pin. And I'm going to do the same thing at this seam. So there's my match point pin, and I'm going to take another pin that's going to stay there, and it's going through just the seam allowance, and then on the other side it can go back in through the quilt.
So can you talk about whenever it's convenient for you, would you talk about how you pressed your seams?
Yes, after I sew them, you mean like the direction, or
If someone asked, would you press the seams open?
Oh, okay. Tell you what, when we get to the point after I get this sewn together, we'll talk about the pressing.
Perfect.
Okay, so here's my last, not my last, I think I might do a couple more. But there's my match point pin. And then I have kind of a permanent pin that I'm going to put in there through the seam allowance first, and then back through the quilt. And then I'm going to do another one in the corner. There's a few match points that you will also, a match point is anywhere where the fabric or the stitching is going to match up from block to block. So as you can see, bring this picture out here. As you can see, there are some feather quilting, and you're going to want that heart to kind of flow around, and you want all that to match. So I'm going to place some match point pins, and I'm going to pin on those areas as well. So I'm going to first choose, I think I'll choose this one right here. And then I'm going to choose what it should match up to on the next block. I guess we used to call these anchor pins.
Mm-hmm.
Anchor pins. Sorry, wrong terminology.
Anchor pins.
Anchor
I
pin.
like that because it's like you're anchoring it. You're
Right.
holding it in
You're-
place before
exactly.
you put your other pin in.
So here's another spot. I'm going to stick a pin in there. I went through the second one too. We'll see how well it landed. It's a tiny bit off, so I'm going to make an adjustment. So there's my anchor pin.
Hi, Kristen from Lima. It's nasty out today, isn't it?
It is. I wonder if Kristen's ready for some snow instead of rain.
Or summer.
I want
One
to
or the other.
have a shout out to Deb Miller, who stopped in here this morning, and she visited us from Fort Wayne, or not, excuse me, not Fort Wayne, Van Wert. So there's another match point pin or anchor pin. Goodness gracious. So I see another one here. I want to get these two to line up. I'm going to choose this one right here. It takes a little bit of time, and honestly, it takes more time to pin than it does to actually sew the seam. But if you don't go through this process, you're going to spend a little time sometimes ripping out because you want them to match perfectly.
And this one, you're putting way more than some other designs because the center of that has a few more match points than others.
You can see how I'm matching those two areas. Hopefully you guys can see that.
Kristen prefers snow too. I'm with you.
Yeah, we're just tired of wet, icky stuff. Okay, so you can see where I have those 2 match points. Hopefully that's visible from your end. So there's my anchor pin and there's my permanent pin. I'm going to do one more. Okay. So I'm ready to go to my machine.
I have a good question that I don't know the
Yes.
answer to.
Yes.
Before you go to your machine. Terry asked, she said, trimming. What do you do if you cut the material too close? Can I sew the block together with the batting? She wasn't sure if she's supposed to trim outside on the first few blocks. Does it depend on how close?
I guess I'm trying to understand, did she, and maybe she can answer this question, did you trim battleizer away where it was supposed to stay in the block, or did you accidentally cut the fabric on the front?
Let us know, Terry.
Yeah, let us know.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go sew and we'll come back and hopefully she has answered that.
Okay, real quick, as she's transitioning in there, I do want to put this is kind of a recap from yesterday, but we do have a few shops that have this in stock. So if you're watching from Connecticut, Illinois, Idaho, Nebraska, Pennsylvania, or even Paris, Ontario, check out these shops. And even if you're kind of not that close to them, they have some Hoop Sisters stuff. So you might want to check that out. And then I will turn it over to Annie.
Okay, I have my machine set up. I have just a neutral thread in the bobbin and also in the needle. I have my walking foot on, and I also have just my straight stitch. You can, if there's a lot of matching as there is in this block, my default stitch length is at 2.4. If you want to move that maybe to 2.8, and sometimes that helps with things not moving, and as far as consider worrying about the seam strength in that, since it's a longer stitch. And this is not required. This is just a tip in case you do have trouble getting it to match, that you can always, there'll be a serpentine stitch that'll hold that also in place. So what I like to do is I like to start in like about 1/4 of an inch, and I'll put the needle down there, and then I'll do a back stitch, and then I'll go forward. I'm going to be sewing. I should probably, hold on, I'm going to grab a pen so I can show you where I'm going to be stitching. I'm going to just write on my battleizer. Okay, hopefully I marked correctly. This is basically the outside basting stitch that stitched when it was still in the hoop. And that is where you're going to be sewing. You can see we have the bulk of the battleizer removed to help with that, but now we're going to be stitching right on that basting stitch. And so let's just do this. So I'm just going to continue to sew right on that stitching. I always remove my pins. Remove your pins. Don't run them over. And then at the end, I'm also going to do a back stitch at the end. And here's where you go, oh, I hope it matches well. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to go back and we're going to iron this and press it. And we'll talk about pressing seams. And if you have questions on that, let us know.
I was
Been on
sleeping
the
on the
job,
job.
I was
I was supposed
supposed
to
to
move an iron.
it. Did you do it?
I think I need to remute a couple things. Okay. I think my sound is fixed.
All right, so here we are. We have it all stitched out. Definitely needs to be pressed, but you can see how the seams and all the stitching matches up beautifully. I think that sometimes if you don't use that pinning technique with the anchor pins, then I think you're going to have some issues and stuff. So we have wool in this, and if you remember, we pressed the edges of the wool before we did the block.
I had this question on Facebook yesterday.
Okay, good.
Someone asked, do we press the wool before we cut it? No, we don't want to do that.
No, you are going to cut it to the exact size that we tell you in the instructions, and then you will take it over to the to your iron. Hold on, I'm going to go grab what I have on my other ironing board. Okay, this is just a piece of parchment paper from my kitchen. So I'm going to move this. And basically what I do is I will take the piece of parchment paper and then I will just like maybe 1/4 of an inch, just press it like that. And then it pulls right off. And then the wool won't stick to your iron. And I just do that on all the different sizes, but the parchment paper works great. What?
Carolyn, that cracked me up. She said finally her company left so she can watch her favorite show.
Adios.
It made me laugh.
That's hilarious. But basically, because our finished quilt already has wool in it and you're pressing seams, we're going to talk about how to press those seams. We are going to use a little tool called a strip stick. And it's an awesome tool because what it does is, I have too many things over here. When you're using the strip stick, your contact with your iron is just going to be at the top point of the strip stick. So you're not pressing an entire block and flattening your wool. So for example, if you forget, I'm going to show you what happens if you don't use a strip stick and you're pressing a seam, maybe pressing the seam and the width of your iron is going over all that wool, you're going to defeat the purpose of having the wool. You've lost your loft, and that's why you need to have the strip stick. So we put those aside. So here's our strip stick. It's under our seam, and I'm going to press the seams to one side. And a lot of times I like to use the Mary Ellen spray starch. It definitely helps keep those seams in place. You can see how we still have our loft on the front. And then I always turn it over and give it a good press on the front. But the iron is in contact only with the area where the seam is, which is wonderful. Okay, so there's the strip stick. What was the question before that you had?
The one that we weren't sure and we asked her a follow-up question?
Yeah.
So she said that she mistrimmed. Her follow-up said that she trimmed the fabric on the front of the block and she has no 1/4 inch around the block.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, that might be a redo. I hate to tell you that.
Are you using the trimmer? Because if not, you might want to get
Right.
the trimmer. That'll help. And just double check your instructions too on what side to cut what way.
The basting stitch around the perimeter of the block is not where you trim it. Just keep that in mind.
What is the stick made out of? I
don't know. It's a patented secret, I guess. Feels like there's wood in there and then some padding. And
it's patent pending. That's all.
It is
made in the USA. That's all it says.
I think it's made in Texas.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so I'm going to remove the ironing stuff and we are going to talk about adding your backing and how to do all that. Because in this design, we did not put the backing on while it was in the hoop, because the smaller designs are just easier to do if you just do one piece back. So here's our backing fabric, cute little pink.
It's a good question. Can we wash the quilts? We'll talk about that too in just a moment.
Maybe we should talk about it now, so we don't forget.
Well, it's up to you.
But the instructions tell you just get a fat quarter for this size. Might be for the 7-inch too. I can't remember. If you want to pin or tape this to your counter or cutting table or whatever, you can. I want to show you a mistake I made here, and I'm going to tell you how I'm going to correct it in case it happens to you. It did not actually perfectly match there. So I'm not going to sew this together on our live. I'm going to go back in and take that out and make a correction on it. So keep an eye out for that to make sure that all your stitching matches up, and it will if you sew it right.
If you're not live, it will.
If you're not live, it'll work out great. But basically on something this small, I don't tape the edges. It's going to be fine. So I'm just going to take my safety pins in the middle of each block. I am going to make sure I get my backing fabric there. I'm just going to place a safety pin in the middle of each of those blocks.
Can I answer a question?
Yeah.
Someone said, can I still get the Heartfelt bundle? I don't see it offered online as a bundle. That's a really good question. Lynn, what you'll want to do is just add the design and your battleizer to your cart as 2 separate products. And then it will take the 10% off and it'll add the bonus as long as you do it before midnight tonight. So you won't see it as a bundle product, but if you add those 2 things, we're counting it to get you the bundle bonus. I hope that makes sense.
Okay, now I would continue on the border to put a safety pin in those areas as well. And then I'm going to show you on our bigger sample, I'm going to take it off the wall, where you're going to stitch and what the stitch looks like.
I did move that camera down. I feel like it helped a little.
Yeah, I think it did too. Otherwise it was a mile away. So what you're going to do on this is you are going to choose a serpentine stitch on your machine. And the serpentine stitch is just one that meanders back and forth. And you'll be able to see what it looks like here in just a moment. Most of the designs, Hoop Sisters designs that we do is we do a serpentine stitch between each block. I did it a little different on this one. I just did the serpentine stitch right around the heart. Let me push this aside. So here's mine, and I did, can you guys see the serpentine stitch on there?
No. And it's not just the camera. I can tell you that.
It's not. Let me get in a little closer. The serpentine stitch is done with, we like to use Superior Threads monopoly. It's a clear thread, and I like to use it in the needle and also in the bobbin. And then you can see, or if you want in the bobbin, if you want to match your backing thread, you can do that. But you could, if you wanted to also, the choice is going to be yours if you want to use the monopoly in the bobbin, but it does not show at all. You can see it on the back.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they can see that. I'm trying to get a better angle. So you can see how it just meanders back and forth. Can they see that okay?
I think so.
Okay. So you can see how it's just the heart, just the perimeter of the heart is sewn with that serpentine stitch, and that helps all of that lay nice and flat.
It's so pretty.
It is pretty. So I will tell you that once you sew the serpentine stitch, the next thing you'll have to do is go back to a straight stitch, lengthen it to like a 3.0 or maybe even a little longer, and just do a basting stitch all around the edge, right on that basting stitch line that's there.
So Jude has a question. So the serpentine stitch is used as a quilting to hold the pieces together.
Yes, exactly.
You nailed it. Okay.
So that's it. After you sew your basting stitch around the perimeter, you will trim your backing fabric even with your little quilt, and then you can put a binding on it and you are finished.
Okay. Have you used cuddle for backing? So cuddle in our language in Ohio is minky.
Well, there's different brands.
Okay.
Some are called Cuddle.
I think it's like in
yeah.
I think of that as minky. I think
Yeah.
that's what she's asking.
Absolutely, you can do that. I have not done it while it's in the hoop, but this is designed with a one-piece backing. So absolutely, just put that on the back and just treat it as though it were a piece of cotton fabric and do the same thing.
Okay.
And then get the vacuum out because you're going to need it.
Okay, I am going to recap some of the details, some of the things that we talked about yesterday, the pricing, the deal, all that stuff. And if you don't mind, maybe you could watch the comments so that if questions are coming in, we can make sure that we answer them. She's running somewhere. I don't know where she's going. You can do it here. You don't have to leave.
I don't know if my bifocals and my height will
Oh.
allow me, but I'll try.
Maybe
I'll
come on
switch
this
sides.
side.
Okay.
So Annie is going to stick around so that if you guys have questions, she can get them answered. Here's a pen in case you need to jot them down because sometimes they come in quickly.
Okay.
So just to recap the details, when you order this, it comes with 5-inch and 7-inch block sizes. Our completed sample that you see on screen, Annie did in the 7-inch block size. And the sample we stitched out live throughout the workshop was the 5-inch size. You could do just the one heart, or you could sort of make it 4 times and do a larger layout. And the finish sizes are on screen there, depending on what block size you do will obviously determine your approximate finish size. The other thing that is really cool is it's all multi-formatted. So you saw Annie using her Janome yesterday, but you can use whatever embroidery machine brand. As long as you have at least a 5-inch sewing field, you'll be good to go. We do have this available as a digital download. You can also get it on USB, however you choose to do it. And the price on this is $35. I also want to real quickly pop this back up so I don't forget to do the giveaway.
Like you almost did yesterday.
I've done it before. So $50 giveaway. Keyword is trim. You only need to type it once. Even if you type it more than once, the system's only going to take it one time. So just keep that in mind. If you've already typed it, you're good to go. All right. So the next thing that do you want to answer a question?
Well, no, I just wanted to, if you could go back to the comments and still get up there. I don't know if you can.
There you go. Okay.
Okay.
The other thing is the design alone is I'll go back in just a second, I promise, but I want to
just typing in.
I want to pop this up there too. But anyways, we do recommend you use our battleizer with this project. It is a combination of batting and stabilizer. So it's got the stability that you need to hold up to all the stitching, but it's also got that batting in there that you want for a quilt. So this is the perfect product. You don't need 2 products. This is just one product. So 5 yards of this is $33.99. We do have low stock on this, but it is not gone yet. I asked Nina earlier before the live and she said it's not gone yet, but it's going to get close. So we recommend this in the product. So this is perfect to bundle together. So if you add the design individually to your cart and then add the 5 yards of battleizer, this is actually going to automatically take 10% off your order total, and it's going to pop a free bonus into your cart. Okay. So I shared this yesterday. I'm going to share it again because this is really the power of ordering during the workshop. The design will be available in the future. You can get it any day of the week, but the deal ends tonight at midnight. So I don't want anybody to miss it. Basically, the wonderful thing about this is with the 10% discount and that free bonus, you're going to save $21.89, plus you're getting that bonus in there. So the design is $35. The battleizer is $33.99. Why pay for the bonus? Just get those 2 things, and you'll have the price savings.
Oh, and we'll show you the bonus.
Yes,
again. It's so stinking cute.
Yeah, and in fact, I thought maybe we could show it here with this color behind it.
There you go.
So that's the deal, and it ends tonight at midnight. This is the best pricing, and if you don't have battleizer, you're going to want it. If you do have battleizer, you can just purchase the design. It is $35. The only price break is if you get both of those things, okay? If you want the bonus and you don't need Battleizer, you can just spend $15 for the bonus if you'd like. The other thing I want to say is, well, here's the bonus.
Yeah.
So adorable. I think there's 10 different sayings. And we talked yesterday, it would be super cute to put like a magnet on the back of these as well. But that's the bonus you would get for free if you... Oh, I don't know. She's pointing at something and I'm like, I don't know. This is the bonus. So you get 10 of those conversation hearts. And what I was saying is we talked yesterday about putting magnets on the back even would be super duper cute. Okay.
Or a pin to wear it on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. And so the last thing I'll mention, and then we can answer questions and maybe even show the bonus on the camera, is that if you are outside the United States, you have a special offer. If you registered for the event, I emailed you the special offer. Okay. So if you didn't register, you could always call or email Nina. We'll still give you the special offer, but yours is different since you're outside the US. And just so that I don't confuse everyone, we're not going to go into what yours is. Okay. All right, Annie, did you see questions you want to answer?
Yeah, there were a couple of them. Somebody asked if we always press the seams to one side. We do. We try to. Now, there's going to be occasions, there's certain designs that maybe have like multiple layers of fabric in it and maybe some applique fabric in the seam as well. There has been times where it just didn't want to go to one side, so I would press those seams open. But typically, press it to one side, alternate rows, just like you would if you were making a quilt top. Okay. And then somebody asked a question about washing the quilts. Yes, absolutely. You can wash the quilts. Make sure your fabric is color fast. And I would say that 99.999% fabric, especially if you get it at a quilt shop, is going to be color fast. However, if you want to put a color catcher in the wash with it, that might be a little added insurance for you. I would wash it on a gentle cycle, and then I pull it out and just lay it on a bed or wherever. You can lay it flat and just let it air dry. I usually put it on a bed in the bedroom with a ceiling fan.
No dryer.
No dryer. No, especially if you're using wool. You don't want to put it dry. You maybe can put it in there on a cold tumble dry, just get some of the moisture out of it, but never anything hot, and just lay it flat so it can dry. And usually about halfway through the day, I can then, and I'm referring to big quilts, so
yeah,
no matter what size, just flip them over, keep the ceiling fan on, and by the end of the day, it'll be completely dry.
And I have seen a couple questions about people specifically missing an email or not getting something in their order. The customer service information is on the screen. Just reach out to Nina directly. She will absolutely get you taken care of. Okay. The other question I saw is how big are the conversation hearts? So I think this view I'll show you two different views because I think just even holding it, I don't know the sizing, but like it's as big as my palm. Let's put it bigger than Annie's palm, about as big as my palm. But I actually think it looks
they're
like,
so
just to
cute.
give you perspective.
Someone yesterday had mentioned about taking these and hiding them in her house, having
Yeah,
her
that was
kids run around
cute.
and find them. And I stitched all of these out in one hooping. So if you have a large hoop, it's so easy. I have different colors here that I did in one hoop. So I had all these different little pieces of fabric, and the fabric on the back, I had to spray with a little KK2000, a temporary spray adhesive to hold it in place because there were so many. But if you use one piece of fabric, maybe you can do 3, 4, 5 different colors. And it just is so stinking cute.
This is I'm going to put this over it. Here's the free gift. I got to say, Annie, I think you might have got shown up on your fabric choices for that free gift in our VIP group. You guys are the real stars of the show because you came up with some really clever.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Clever little.
So Wenda has a question, says, do you put the back on when you make them? I think she's talking about
the hearts.
The little hearts. The little hearts, no, the back was, yes. I'll tell you, I can't remember exactly how she worded her question. But the backing fabric was put on while it was in the hoop.
So cute.
So if you were going to put multiples in a hoop If you're using the same color fabric, you could just cut one bigger piece of fabric instead of the whatever size this is we tell you.
Someone said it'd be a cute mug rug too.
It would.
My coffee cup is way bigger than this. I have a really big mug, but
see, the bottom of it's huge.
It is. It is. But yeah, you could. It's so cute.
Very cute.
So if you got the free gift because you registered in advance and you decide to get the bundle, you're really going to have the whole set, which is nice. It all coordinates so beautifully. And then, someone said we froze. Maybe refresh your screen. It looks good on our end. She probably doesn't know I'm telling her that because her screen's froze.
Someone I saw this, couple people asked also about the replay, or they didn't get to see the whole thing. The replay will always be available in our VIP group. So when we finish here, you can just go wait a couple minutes and then go back, refresh your screen, and you'll be able to find the replay in there and watch it from the beginning because it was so exciting. It was. Finishing a project is always exciting.
That's right. Okay. So now it's time to make some decisions, figure out what you want to make. I can't wait to see what you guys do. A lot of times we see people starting to post the project in our VIP group. We highly encourage you to do that. Show off your skills. I think it's so fun to be able to watch Annie or Sarah or Linda make the project, and then you get to do it in your own colors and post it in the group. And I will also just again want to remind you, the bundle bonus and that limited time pricing on that does expire tonight at midnight. So make sure if you're thinking about it or on the fence, now's the best time to do it because you're going to save a little bit, $21 and some change. Yeah. And you'll have everything.
That's right.
So,
and Kathleen, the VIP group is what you're watching now. So it's in the same VIP Facebook group.
She's watching from YouTube.
Oh, she's watching.
So we will post, we'll post the group, but also Kathleen, if you register in advance, you would have gotten some emails, and in those emails that have reminders and details and things like that, there is a link. It says click here for Facebook group, click there and you will be in the right spot. Yeah. We put all the replays. We keep all the replays in there. I posted the fabric and thread key information in that group as well yesterday. So it's a really great place to be. It's also a fun place for you to post all of your pictures. So you want to be in there.
Yep.
All right. There is no coupon code. It's all an automatic. It's kind of nice. Like
it is.
Yesterday
nice.
It wasn't working for 10 minutes, but after that it was fine and it works wonderfully. So it'll give you, if your cart qualifies, it'll give you the 10% off and pop the bonus in there. Okay.
Awesome. And to qualify again, it's just the 5-yard battleizer and the design, correct?
That's right.
Okay. Because I was reading other things and not paying attention.
It's easy to get caught up in the comments.
It is.
All right, you all. Well, thank you so much. Tomorrow we will have Linda on and we will be doing session 2 of the barn quilt sew along. So she's got some exciting things about joining that you are going to want to see. It's at the same time tomorrow, same place, YouTube and Facebook. And it's at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, noon Mountain Standard, and 11 in the morning over on the Pacific Coast.
Yeah.
So,
and on the barn quilt, she's teaching it, and yes, she's on her second session, but this is something you can jump in at any time.
Yeah. Yep.
All of our stuff is like that.
And all of her videos are also, the replay remains available. And when you register, I do send out the email, the replays too. So you can watch it anytime and kind of work at your own pace. All right. Well, keep an eye out. We've got another workshop coming up soon. So take advantage of that. Yeah. And it'll be with Annie again.
Yes, it will. All right. We'll see.
Oh my gosh, a winner.
Oh, yes. Oh, Vicky, thank you. Kristen reminded you.
Why am I so bad at that?
And you were going to keep that little comment up there so you wouldn't forget.
I know.
What's the prize?
$50 in store credit. We did that yesterday and we're doing it again today.
So type in TRIM, TRIM, to enter. If you haven't already, you only need to do it one time because now.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So much to tell them.
I know. I want to make sure you don't miss anything. And then the giveaway I miss. So it's easy to do.
Who was Fancy Pants? Did you see that?
I don't know. All right, Lynn Mintz, who is watching over on YouTube. Congratulations,
Yes,
Lynn.
congratulations.
You are the winner. You just won $50 in store credit. So what you're going to want to do is email that email address that's right here, Nina@hoopsisters.com. Let her know you're the $50 winner for day 2 of our workshop. She will pop that in your online account with us as store credit, and you can go shopping. So
That's awesome.
and it doesn't expire. So if you
Yeah.
already ordered, you can always wait till the next one.
That's right.
So congratulations, Lynn,
Yep.
and thanks everyone for joining. If you loved this, learned something, had fun, or found value, we would love it if you would give it a share or just tag one of your sewing friends in here too.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
That's it. And when you're done and you get your projects done, put them on Facebook so we can see your beautiful work.
Yes. All right. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.